All right, so I am
Okay.
Since I test a lot of guns, constantly carrying different guns, what happens and stays in my rotation tends to shift from time to time whenever I find something better than the next. Is that the smartest thing to do? Probably not. But I like doing it. I'm kind of constantly in the pursuit of what I consider the perfect carry gun. And so for me, the Echelon is one of those guns that I think is severely underrated. And the reason why I say that is because it essentially, to me, does everything the Glock 19 does except better. Better trigger, better ergonomics, better looks, better feel, everything. I genuinely believe that. And because of that, this Echelon has the 4.0, which is kind of the Glock 19 size, has taken over what my 19 would usually be doing. Now, that said, Springfield just recently came out with this guy, which looks the same, but it's not. As you can see, it's comped. Now, I'm notorious for comping my guns. I've comped almost every Glock I've ever had. I just recently did a video on the Glock 19X, and that gun is comped. And I think what I want to do now is kind of, considering I've now started carrying the non-comp version a lot more actually, as a matter of fact, especially in this configuration. Well, this is my actual carry version. My actual carry version has a Leupold Delta Point Pro on it, and then I usually run it with this 18-round magazine. And I want to see if it makes sense to kind of go from a non-comp version to a comp version. Like, is the difference that much of a difference? And then kind of talk through whether or not I would do it or wouldn't do it. Now, the gun I carry the most actually is my Springfield Hellcat Pro. And I talked about that gun as far as it being comped as well and determining whether or not I wanted to do that. But what I want to do is see where that plays a part in these two guns, because I carry this when I kind of want to go bigger. Like, what I'm wearing allows me to carry a bigger gun. And then also give me 18 rounds. So think going to a movies, wearing a bigger shirt, things like that. So let's find out. Okay, so right now I'm at about 50 yards. 50 yards is kind of your max handgun wise, especially from like a self-defense standpoint. You're gonna really have a hard time. You have a hard time justifying 50 yards, period, honestly. Unless you're Dickens, and who did it from 40 yards inside of the mall where he shot that mass shooter. So there's that. But I want to start at this distance so I can get a feel of what the distinctions are between having that comp version versus the non-comp version. Because sometimes when you shoot at distance, generally speaking, recoil isn't that big of a deal because you're not shooting that fast. However, anticipation of recoil can cause you to kind of want to dip the gun a little bit, throwing your shot off. So I'm thinking that with the comp version, it'll shoot soft enough to make it easier for me to hit a target at 50 yards. So let's just go ahead and see what we got. Okay, pretty easy. Like I said, this is part of the reason why this is kind of one of my go-to concealed carry guns right now. I haven't updated my concealed carry rotation gun video, but I probably will here in the near future. So that's me shooting at 50 yards with the non-comp version. So now we're gonna switch over to the comp version, and then I'll tell you whether or not I think it makes much of a difference. All right, so now I have the comp version here in black. That's how you can tell the difference between which one's the comp and which one isn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and try at 50 yards to see if it's easy for me to hit at 50 or not easy to hit at 50. I also want to keep in mind, I'm actually shooting jacketed hollow points from Nosler. So
all the ammo used in this video is brought to you by Nosler, maker of the most innovative, most accurate, and most effective bullets and ammunition in the industry.
It's not like I'm just shooting little weak. I think it's 125 grain. And so I'm not just shooting kind of regular 115 grain ball shit. Let's see. Okay, so the irony is this. I hit sooner with that gun than I did with this gun. However, as I started shooting and I kept shooting, I did notice that I could repeat the hits faster. And that's something that I could immediately tell the difference in terms of being able to shoot this target at 50 yards. Like once I understood my hold, the gun is not I'm not getting a lot of muzzle rise on the gun, clearly because it's comped. So it's immediately noticeable. Like, I'm gonna go back real quick to verify. All right, now, it's another thing I love about it. Like, press checking is so smooth. It's just silky. Silky. I'm telling you, I love this fucking thing.
Now, before you finish watching this video, I want to quickly talk about the hearing protection that I'm wearing in this video. These are the AKT1 blackout wireless in-ear hearing protection with Bluetooth. I like to call them the AirPods for shooters. I say for shooters because AirPods don't protect your hearing, but these do. They are hands down my favorite in-ear hearing protection that I've ever used, and I mean ever. They have an NR 25 dB auto noise blocking. They can enhance your hearing by 6 times. They have advanced noise cancellation, Bluetooth connectivity with high fidelity speakers so you can take phone calls and listen to music. They have a battery life of 10 hours with an additional 30 hours in a charging case, and they're low profile and stylish enough to fit in not only at the gun range, but in your gym, while you're studying, working, at school, at home, you name it. I'm in love with these things, and now they're finally available on my store at shop.mrcolionnoir.com, or you can just click the link in the description section of this video.
All right, so now I'm back on the non-comp version just to verify what I was feeling before. Like, it's noticeably recoiling more in my hands. I don't know if it's actually being seen on camera, but it definitely is, as far as I can feel, as far as I can tell. Now, here's the thing. Is it a game changer? Is it night and day? No. Largely, at least from here, at this distance. Largely, as you can see, I'm still hitting the target. I can do it. Like, you want to show them exactly where I'm shooting at, Peter? Like, I'm still hitting the target with no problem. But I do feel like it's easier for me to do it repeatedly at this distance with the comp version. However, it's not game changing. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. It's not a game changing difference, but it is noticeable. So now we're gonna get closer, and this is where I think it's gonna start to create a divide. It's gonna be at closer distance shooting under rapid fire. That's where you're gonna really notice the difference between the comp version and the non-comp version. So let's go a little bit closer. All right, so now when I'm out, cut the distance in half, about 25 yards. This is a little bit more realistic, generally speaking, from a defense standpoint. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see how fast I can shoot at this distance and stay on target as best as I can and see if there's much of a difference, how much easier. This is where I'm gonna really start to see and notice how much of a benefit that comp is playing. All right, as you can see, I can do that pretty well at 25 yards. So now we're gonna switch to the comp. All right, now we have the comp version. Tell me we don't have another mag, do we? All right. Okay. So here's the thing about that. So what you notice is this. I missed a lot more than I missed with that gun. And here's why. The comp actually does a phenomenal job. And it does such a phenomenal job, it's causing me to outrun the gun. So it's giving me a false sense of confidence to shoot faster than I really am. So I'm out shooting my sights. So I'm here and I started noticing, so instead of paying attention on how accurate I am, I'm focused more on how fast I can shoot. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load up another magazine, understand where I need to scale back the speed in order to get my hits, and then we'll see what the difference is. So as I walk back, I'll get some more ammo. One thing I will say about this is, like, all comps aren't built the same, because you would think, you know, a comp gun is a comp gun. It's not necessarily the case. But one thing I'm noticing about this particular gun is I'm not getting a lot of the concussion that you normally kind of get from comps. Sometimes you get a comp gun and you notice it. So for instance, I just did a video on the 19X from DEFCON 3, which I freaking love. And that gun shoots flat and it has like 4 ports on the barrel. On that gun, it shoots flat, shoots fast, but I notice I can feel the concussive force a little bit more than I can with this particular gun. All right, so now we're back at the 25-yard line. This is the comp version. Let's see how I stay on target with this one now. from that perspective, it's faster. I could shoot faster with this. Now, here's the thing. Here's a give and a take, right? So with the non-comp version, I was technically more accurate. But with the comp version, I got more hits on target in a shorter period of time, if that makes sense. So for me, I feel like this definitely allows me to shoot faster. And what I really wanted to kind of figure out with this shit is whether or not I'm gonna feel like I'm getting a lot of concussive force, and I'm just not. In the concussive force that you get from some comp guns, you'll notice it immediately. I don't understand the science behind how to cut a barrel and make sure that you don't get a lot of concussive force. That's above my pay grade. However, I can say this style, compared to styles that I've kind of already have experiences with, has been the best so far and not giving me that concussive force that I don't really typically tend to like. So with that being said, now let's get closer and start doing some up close and dirty work with the two and then see where the differences lie. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of mimic a bill drill. I forgot my holster, so it's not gonna come out of a holster. We're just gonna mimic it. Bill drill basically is you stand at about the distance I'm standing right now. Peter's gonna say up, go, or whatever weird word he comes up with. And I'm gonna see how fast I can get 6 rounds on target. Then I'm gonna have him do it again, and this time I'm gonna see how fast I can get 6 rounds on target going backwards. And then I'm gonna go forward. And then after that, we're gonna switch to the comp version. And then I'll tell you my thoughts. All right, Peter, you know the word. Make some weird stuff up. So now we're gonna go backwards. All right. So now I'm gonna come forward.
Shooter ready. Good.
All right, so there's that. I'll let you make a decision from there. I think I kind of already know what the difference is and how it feels, but let's see. All right, so now we have the comp version. Same thing, standing 6 rounds, reverse 6 rounds, going forward 6 rounds. See what we do.
Shooter ready. Threat.
All right, about 6 already.
Threat. Shooter ready. Threat.
Got fragged. I think that kind of speaks for itself. I could be wrong. I even noticed my groups are a lot tighter on that one versus the other way around. I like this. I like this a lot. Like, let's get back a little bit. I got fragged, kind of hurt a little bit. Kids, don't shoot still this close, because then you get fragged and you have to act like you're not in pain. All right, so as I want to demonstrate is just how soft this gun shoots in comparison. So, all right, just focus on the gun, Peter. All right, honestly, I could sit out here all day long and draw this video out longer than it really needs to be. I could do every type of drill. I can go between 2 targets, do all that shit. Truth be told, I kind of already know my answer. And the answer is for me, I notice the difference. And for me, this is enough of a difference for me to swap my already non-comp version to the comp version, which is probably what I'm gonna do. And honestly, the biggest deciding factor for me was concussive force. Am I getting a lot of concussion? No, I'm not feeling it. Other guns I do that are ported, some of the Glocks that I have that are ported, I do feel that concussion. This I don't. I don't really notice the concussion, but I also do notice the performance difference in my ability to shoot fast, shoot on target, shoot correctly, all that other great jazz. So I just want to come out here and bring you along while I try to determine just off the cuff whether or not I'm going to be going with the comp version or going with the non-comp version, considering this gun has made it into my rotation, has been in my rotation quietly for some time actually. And so I think it makes a difference. Now, it is not game changing. This is very like it's just above splitting hairs almost. And what I mean by that is it essentially is something that you'll notice if you shoot quite a bit. If you're somebody who doesn't shoot a ton and you're pretty new to shooting, you're really not gonna notice. You'll notice it, but I don't think your skill set isn't gonna be high enough there to really kind of make a difference. However, somebody who's pretty used to shooting, is somewhere between mid-level and high, they'll notice it immediately. And I think in that regard, it makes a lot of the difference. So there you have it. But at the end of the day, man, I love this damn gun. I love it. It's so, man, I'm not doing the whole, I'll just do a follow-up video as to why this has kind of replaced my 19, because these Echelons, fucking underrated, man. Underrated.